What's going on? What's happening?
Too tall.
Too short. Sauce twins.
We back, man.
Back at you.
What y'all been doing?
Hey, you better be careful turning your neck like that. You already can't.
I can't show them that I'm hurt now. I can't show them that I'm hurt.
Boy, I had a crick in the neck.
Slept wrong, but I'm still here though. Ready to get it in.
Hey, today we want to introduce Jay Hyber. We just want to say thank you for coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
Man, we just want to chop it up about business development, business consultations, whatever the heck you be doing, man. You do all kind of stuff. I'm looking at intelligent, energy, proactive, passionate, personable. Boy, you got everything in the book on your summary on LinkedIn.
Man, my wife doesn't even say anything like that about me.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
yeah, but now graduate from Florida State, right?
No, baby.
Okay, graduate from Florida State from the
Originally
East.
from New York, moved down to South Florida, and then that's where I'm at currently.
Okay, now give us a little background about what you do, why you travel so much. You've been down here to Austin twice. Just talk to us a little bit about what you do for Vertimax, or what you just do, man.
Yeah, so I'm a business development consultant for Vertimax, and long story short, it really gives me the opportunity to dive into the community wherever and whenever I can. So, obviously Texas being one of the leaders in athletic performance, I spend time in Austin and Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston. So, the position allows me to see what guys are doing on the sports performance side of thing in the private sector, like your guys' self, the high school, pro, and D1 level. Yeah.
That's interesting, man, because we met because you reached out about doing like an article, if I'm not mistaken. And, and so we're just kind of going through some of your stuff and your articles and the things that you've been writing about. One of the topics I saw was about strength coach in a high school setting.
Yeah.
And I thought the numbers were pretty interesting. Like, let me see if I can find the numbers on that. No, I think it might be on this one. I don't know if you know them off the top of your head.
That's a big topic now.
Yeah, like how many?
It's a unique situation because it's almost a double-edged sword for you guys.
Yeah.
Because, I feel that in the high school setting, there should be a full-time strength coach for a multitude of reasons.
Absolutely.
And obviously, we'll touch on some of those.
Yeah.
But in the country today, that isn't the norm. That's not typically the case. So you guys have the opportunity to fill that gap. If I'm a dad or a mom that has a 16-year-old son or daughter, 17-year-old son or daughter, that may be their first time ever lifting weights, ever in the weight room, ever learning proper mechanics. So it shouldn't be the responsibility of the assistant softball coach to show proper mechanics of that.
Yes.
So the fact that, that strength coach may not be there, you guys have the opportunity to, dive into how to do that correctly.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things. I feel like the coaches, it's like they don't have the time to really dive in and come up with a program.
And execute it.
Yeah, and execute it for the kids. Like, I feel like with the coaches, most of their time should be spent coming up with the play, strategy, stuff like that.
And classroom, a lot of them teach too. So
yeah, you need someone in there that is going to take over. But I don't know.
Imagine how much time we spend on studying, trying to stay up with what's going on, like comparing what we're doing to what's working, our experience day in, day out, us talking amongst each other, and then still trying to get everything executed. Imagine having 250, 300 kids that you're responsible for, and none of them have had an assessment. Nobody's had an assessment.
I know. I mean, there's such a big difference between X's and O's and coaching and athletic development.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big difference between the two, and the sports heads at high schools, their responsibility should be X's and O's and, worrying about what's going on in practice, not the logistics of, scheduling time in the weight room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is where it gets funny because, yes, I feel like high school should have strength coaches and stuff like that. But what are you supposed to do when the coaches don't? Because, some coaches don't receive that well. It's like they just want to have hands on the kids and just
I think
their
if it's
hands.
coming from the inside, if the school or the district hires a person that's going to be on staff, that's like one of their teammates, I think it would be well received because it'll be somebody on the staff at the school that's going to be delegated to strength and conditioning programs.
Because I know some schools have outside.
Hey, out here in Austin, there's
entities.
2 or 3 schools that have contracted a company that basically controls their strength and conditioning program. They if I'm not mistaken, they're actually on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a multitude of ways that schools are doing it nowadays. They may have a full-time strength coach. They may have, the D-line coach that doubles as the strength coach.
Yeah.
But a lot of times he spends his time on the football team.
Yeah.
The football team, the girls soccer team, they're not, really getting his attention. And there will be situations where schools will bring in, people like yourselves. Well, they'll bring in third-party companies and the football team budgets that they bring you guys in. And that's a huge business opportunity for you guys.
Yeah.
Because you can only grow so much within your 4 walls of your business that if other businesses are bringing you guys in, it allows you to expand outside 4 walls.
Yeah, and I think that's like we've built some relationships, with the coaches, of course, in this area. But one thing that you kind of deal with, some districts don't allow just one school to have a designated strength coach. If every school in the district doesn't have access to the strength coach, then they don't want it. So it's like they want to create the budget or whatever or the access for all of the schools in the district, not just one school. Whereas other districts, they'll allow one school to just have a strength coach. If that's in their budget, that's what they want to do, they allow it. So.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting aspect of it because obviously there's a lot of, corporate policy that comes up. And it really varies district by district, Yeah, it's it is interesting.
I think, I actually don't think it would. Let's say someone hired a strength coach in the school. I mean, I don't think that would hurt us any. Like, I don't think that would hurt the private sector any. I don't know. I feel like it'll be better. Like, we'll get even better kids, to deal with.
That's a positive way to look at it. And from what I've experienced, the places that play well together, if you will, that is the case. But you'll go to certain places that the head strength coaches at those high schools and then the private sector sports performance coaches don't get along, and it creates this ego situation where they're my athletes. No, they're my athletes. We do whatever we need to do with them here, and you don't need to worry about doing them. So typically in those good environments, when there's a good line of communication and they work well together, is when it's most beneficial for the athlete. Really.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like that should be the way it is. Pretty much, there might be a few schools that we haven't been able to get into and actually talk, but we go in and talk to the head coach just to introduce ourselves. Like, we don't go and ask for anything.
Nothing. We just let them know, hey, we're here.
We're here to help you guys.
We're here.
Yeah, and if we have 10 of your kids in high school right now on your varsity, and we have 5 or 6 of your middle school kids that be coming through your program, I think it'd be good to know who the guys are that they're spending, 3 to 4 hours a week outside of the, out of the program. Who are these guys and what are y'all doing?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think that's a big part of it where, they know who their athletes are training. They don't need to, stick their noses in too much in terms of everything you're doing, athletic development wise. But, if they have, 4-year wide receivers on their team and these kids are going to you since they were in middle school, it's good to know where their kids are training.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. I also thought what was interesting was the compensation. When you on your report, it showed, I guess 2,300. You had 2,300 responses. You had 791 that worked in college for strength coaches, 477 independent strength coaches, and 323 in a high school setting. And based on the response and salaries at the high school level, they were making $49,000. I thought that was a lot.
That's good.
I didn't think they would be. I didn't think that they had designated that kind of salary to the high school strength coach.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a pool of 2,300 people.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see a pool of 40,000.
Yeah, no doubt. I know it's not that big, but I thought that was a lot.
Bigger than what I thought it would be. Yeah.
Well, those may be coaches that double it as teachers. So that may be their teaching salary plus their strength.
That makes more sense now. Okay. So that might be the history teacher / D-line coach that's the strength coach and his salaries. Okay. Yeah, for that. Okay. Yeah, and man, I was also thinking just thinking about what kind of time, coaches put in with the kids. The strength coach, to me, it seems like a lot of times the strength coach will know the kids just a little better.
They do.
Than maybe the coaches on the staff, because the time you spend with them in off season is just a little different in the weight room than it is out on the field.
You get to know them.
Yeah, you know those kids just in a different way, kind of. You think there's some truth to that, or you?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that strength coaches have a really unique opportunity to contribute to the culture and the heartbeat of a program.
Yeah.
Because, they're not only working with the football team, they're working with, a full-time strength coach.
Yeah.
They're with every single team across, the entire athletic program.
Yeah.
So they really have a great opportunity to contribute to that culture a little bit with each team and get to know each of those athletes and kind of push that bar to the next level with all the program's athletes.
Yeah. No,
I think it's really your team.
Yeah,
it's really your team.
In a lot of ways, I think that relationship is very unique compared to the relationship
coach
that
and athlete.
An athlete might have. With the coaches.
Yeah.
And especially the head coach, and a lot of times at a lot of these big programs, the head coach is, he's like a CEO of a company. And so it's like that strength coach knows those players probably a little better than some of these head coaches, for these programs. And I always thought that was interesting.
It's kind of cool because going back to what you were just saying, a lot of high school kids, they're going through a lot of stuff nowadays, whether it be, their parents got divorced or, things of that nature, where if you're playing on a sports team and you have your helmet on and you're in practice and you're in a game, it's kind of easy to mask that, if you will, or maybe hard for a sports head to recognize that. I mean, the good ones do, we know that, but a lot of times in the weight room, those strength coaches have the opportunity to recognize that and then really do that aspect of coaching where it you ask the guys why they do it and it's for those reasons. Aside at the end of class to say, hey man, what's going on? Build character in that relationship.
Yeah,
I think that's big, man.
Cool, man. So talk to me a little bit about All right, so let me just tell y'all what happened to me with Vertimax first, man. I told Jay what happened, so we know Jay works at Vertimax, so I had to tell him this story. I get a call at the facility, and the first thing the dude asked me on the phone was, "Do you guys have a Vertimax? I need resistance training for my son." So I'm like, "No, we don't have a Vertimax, but." No, y'all don't have a Vertimax? I was like, no, we don't have a Vertimax, but we do a lot of speed work, plyometrics. We do resistance training. Vertimax is the only thing that can give your son. Well, I'm looking for a Vertimax. If you guys don't have a Vertimax, then I'm not interested. Hey, you have a good day.
Because we ain't got it.
I couldn't get through to him. He wasn't trying to hear it. What are y'all putting in that piece of equipment? Like,
yeah, that's crazy. And I told you the other day, it's not the first time I've heard that before. And it's so ironic because we pride ourselves really on not, giving people a piece of equipment and saying, here, this is all the Vertimax stuff you have to do with this Vertimax. We more created a tool to give people the opportunity to incorporate it into their programming where they see appropriate, where they see fit. But there are people out there that see Vertimax as, the be-all.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
And I think it's more of the parents that may not understand where, if you're living on the block and up the street, Johnny's jumping, slamming it home, and you ask his dad, what's he doing? And he says, oh, he's training on a Vertimax in the garage. We need a Vertimax. Whatever it costs, whatever. He doesn't need to do anything else. He just needs to be jumping on a Vertimax. And obviously it's not the answer, but I think people get that tunnel vision that it may be.
So it's the education, man. We run into it from time to time. I mean, for the most part, of course, our culture and the people that come here, they trust us. But we've had some interesting things said. Just education. When I'm talking about education, one time we had an aunt of an athlete brought her kid up for the summer, or the nephew to the summer program, and we finished the program, and afterwards, she walked. I'm being transparent right now. She walked up to the front desk and was like, "You guys, y'all don't train them hard enough. Y'all don't push them hard enough. They don't work hard enough here." And immediately I went to 10 in my head, because you want to know what day it was? It was an assessment day. And even if it wasn't an assessment day, we don't bring athletes in here and just drill them into the ground. We don't do conditioning like that, because a lot of times that's what they get at the high schools. They get conditioning. They run 40-40s and all of this stuff. We don't do that here. So when people don't really know what they're looking at and don't understand the program and the process, that's when the kind of, the education we try to do is as much as we can, educating our parents and educating the kids on what we're doing, why we're doing, and the full process and the way this thing looks, holistically. But it's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, and many people have said this, there's a social media aspect to it that, on ESPN, you see guys in the weight room squatting 700 pounds, and automatically people think that's what you should be doing when you're in the weight room, where you're not trying to make the best lifter in the weight room. You're trying to create the best athlete,
Yes, and that's so true.
I like what you just said, man. You ain't trying to make the best lifter.
No, we're not.
Trying to make the best athlete.
We're not. I seen a kid trying to do 500 for 2 reps or something, and you could just see him just cave at the bottom of the squat. Somebody else lifting him, helping him up.
But that's kind of what we was talking about last week. The number goals.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's all pretty interesting. I think the strength coach in the high school is something I think that we're probably going to see more of. Do you think?
I hope we do, because it's needed.
I think it's trending in that direction. couple years ago, we became part of NHSSA, which is the National High School Strength Coaches Association. And they're doing a couple things. They're creating awareness that there's a need for the high school strength coach, but they're also, under the understanding that if you are the softball coach and you're the strength coach as well, we want to at least educate you as much as possible.
Now, is that something to join? People join?
Yeah. Yep. It's fairly new. This is their second year. I think the national convention's coming up in Nashville in July. But it's basically just, education to the high school, market specifically.
Yeah.
So the more I think, those people get educated, at least in that high school setting, it's gonna continue to do this.
Yeah.
Bro, yeah.
For example, I was in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. I learned while I was there that that's kind of where the high school strength coach originated, and it's really easy to tell because there's full-time high school strength coaches everywhere there. I mean, literally almost every single school has that. So what kind of happened was, this school had it, they started creating success, and then the school up the street saw that the blueprint was kind of there, and they duplicated it, and so on and so forth. So, as kids start staying healthier and, the program is more organized, I think it will, continue to grow.
Yeah, I hope it does, man.
Yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. Program like with a place like that starting up, I think it's going to help with education and awareness. I think that's going to be big. That's going to be huge for the industry. I think it's going to be great for the kids. Yeah. And I think I think it benefits the private sector as well. I don't think it hurts. I don't know.
I think it'll benefit everybody.
And the kids that go away to college, that, for athletics, they at least have a foundation that they're going to these coaches, their strength coaches, and they have a foundation,
No, I think that's big, man. Yeah. So where do you see, is Vertimax kind of moving any kind of different direction right now with business dev, with development, or you guys pretty set into what you're doing?
There's always wheels in motion. Yeah. Two cool things that we've done lately is our certification. So we've been in business now 20 years. We've evolved, equipment-wise over that course of time, and people have always asked us, how do I get Vertimax certified? And back in the day, we would just kind of knight them, you're Vertimax certified. And people wanted it for, a lot of different reasons, whether it was, a dad that was just training their kid that wanted a little bit more education, or a facility that wanted to market, themselves as a Vertimax certified facility. Yeah. So last year was our first year that we put a certification in place. So it gives people the opportunity to go to a day-long course and, get educated, not just on Vertimax specific training, but just, some sports specific.
Man, that's good. That's good y'all doing
type
that.
Stuff as well.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing that we put into place last year. We're slowly starting to expand that. So we're going to do some things internationally with that. Because we do quite a bit of business overseas, so it gives us the opportunity to, connect with those people. And then we have an app that's coming out.
Okay.
Vertimax app.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I think that certification, that's huge. I don't know if, once, of course, you sell the equipment, I'm guessing y'all don't have any kind of responsibility after that. But, man, just showing how much you guys care about the development of what's going on after the sale, to me, that means a lot. That's
key. And I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly why we did it. We're confident to say that we build and make, a great piece of equipment. We just want to make sure people have the opportunity to maximize the benefit of it, whether you're, a dad or mom at home that get it for their 10-year-old kid that has, ambitions of them getting a scholarship. We want to play our part, and do as best as we can to give you the, capability of doing that. Yeah. So we needed to put that in place to basically give people the opportunity, if they need it, to maximize, the equipment and what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I think that's big.
That's what's up.
You got it,
No.
You got anything else for Jay? I know he's struggling over here with his neck. Hey, no, man. But again, man, we just want to say thanks for coming on Sauce Twins, chopping it up with us about where Vertimax is going, what's going on with it, and what the industry is saying and doing, and like kind of what's
The
trending,
wave, yeah.
especially in the high school market, like what you're seeing when you're traveling and going to all of these different events and kind of rubbing shoulders with guys. I think, hopefully, what we're talking about with the high schools can come to play, because I think it'll be in everybody's best interest.
Especially the athletes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is the athletes.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man, when we come to Florida, man, don't be shy.
You got to show us the spots now.
Yeah. Hey, where you in Miami, right?
I'm a little north of Miami, but still 15 minutes from the beach, man.
We out there now.
Hey, I'm going to need a life jacket, but I'm there. Yeah. Hey, all right, man. Peace, man. Take it easy, man.
Appreciate you.
What will you sacrifice to be great?